Now let us begin with the exercises and the MCQs. Development of a country can generally be determined by A. Its per capita income, B. Its average literacy level, C. Health status of its people, and D. All of the above. The answer is D. All of the above. That is, development of a country can generally be determined by its per capita income, its average literacy level, and the health status of its people. Assume there are 4 families in a country. The average per capita income of these families is rupees 5,000. If the income of 3 families is 4,000, 7,000, rupees 3,000 respectively, what is the income of the 4th family? This is more of a mathematical kind of question, but let us deduce the answer. A. Rupees 7,500, B. Rupees 3,000, C. Rupees 2,000, D. Rupees 6,000. Now let us see how rupees 6,000 has come into the picture. So what do we understand by per capita income? So it is the total income of the entire country or the state divided by the number of people who are residing in that country or state. The number of people in that country or state, right? Here we know that number of people, number of families are 4. So that is going to be your denominator. Then coming to the numerator, we have to find the total income. Total income, the 3 incomes are given of the 3 families. Let us consider X as the income of the 4th family. So you have rupees 4,000 plus 7,000 plus 3,000 plus X divided by 4 is equal to 5,000, which is given in the question already as the average. So solving for X, you get the answer as rupees 6,000. Different persons could have different as well as conflicting notions of a country's development. A fair and just path for all should be achieved. Interpret the concept being discussed here. A. Social development, B. Cultural development, C. National development, D. Economic development. Please read the question again. The answer has to be C. National development, because we are seeing the nation as a whole here. We are accounting to every person's grievance and finally deciding as to what the nation truly wants. Hence, it is the national development. Social development is nowhere in the scenario. Cultural development can be removed. Economic development, yes, could be considered, but economic development does not always have to involve a fair and just path for all. When this particular sentence is factored in, you get only national development. Countries with higher income are dash than others with less income. A. Less developed, B. Less organized, C. More developed, D. More organized. The answer is countries with higher income are more developed than the others with less income. What proportion of the country is over using their groundwater reserves? A. 1/4, B. 1/3, C. 1/10, D. half. This is an extremely factual question, so you have to remember the answers. You have to remember the numbers. The answer is B, one third. So one third of the proportion of the country is using their groundwater reserves. Resources which will get exhausted after years of use are called A. Renewable resources, B. Non-durable resources, C. Competing resources, D. Non-renewable resources. The answer is D. Non-renewable resources. A. Renewable resources are those that will not get exhausted after multiple uses. They are natural resources. Then you have non-durable resources that do not stay for a very long time. Their durability is very less. Competing resources are nowhere related to the question. So the option that we are left with is D. Pick out the correct meaning listed below to define average income. A. Average income of the country means the total income of the country. B. It means it is the income of only employed people. C. It is the same as per capita income. D. The average income includes the value of the property held. The answer is average income is defined as the same with respect to per capita income. HDI stands for Human Development Index that focuses on A. Life expectancy, B. Gross enrollment ratio for 3 levels of schooling, C. National income, D. All of the above. The answer has to be D, all of the above. So HDI, the Human Development Index, is an index that is developed by the United Nations in order to measure the life expectancy, the gross enrollment ratio in terms of education, and the national income for every country. What would be the most promising source of energy 50 years from now and why? A. Petroleum energy because it is obtained from fossil fuels. B. Solar energy because it is not exhaustible. C. Coal based energy because it is pollution free. D. Forest produced product based energy because India has abundant forests. The answer is the most appropriate answer out of the 4 options is B, solar energy, because it is not exhaustible. So let us see why we have eliminated the 3 options. Petroleum energy because it is obtained from fossil fuels. You should understand fossil fuels is a non-renewable resource and it is exhaustible. You cannot use it infinite amount of times, right? Then coal based energy is completely in related to pollution. They lead to a lot of pollution and it is not pollution free. Then you have forest product based energy. So that does not mean just because India has abundant forests, it does not mean that you cut all the forests and produce energy out of it. That is not a very sustainable method. So the best option that you have here is solar energy because it is a renewable resource and we have to use it wisely for a sustainable future. Pick out the cause from below that enhances environmental degradation. We need to pick out which of the option increases environmental degradation. Okay, so A is planting of trees, B, prevention of factory waste getting mixed up with river water, C, ban on use of plastic bags, And D, allowing increase in the level of exhaust fumes emitted by cars, buses, trucks, etc. The answer has to be D, allowing increase in the level of exhaust fumes emitted by cars, buses, trucks, etc. Why have we eliminated the three options? Planting of trees is also called as afforestation, and it is not enhancing environmental degradation, but it is increasing the kind of environmental conservation, right? Then you have prevention of factory waste getting mixed up with the river water. Again, you're conserving the environment, you're not doing anything wrong to the environment. Ban on use of plastic bags, you're banning the usage of plastic bags. If you use plastic bags, you're degrading the environment, but you're banning this practice, which means you're enhancing the environment and conserving the same. So the option that you're left with is D. Which country can be considered as a developed country in the modern world? Select your answer from the following statements. A. Countries which have accumulated huge amount of wealth and always secures the future of the citizens. These countries are said to be developed. B. Countries which are among the highest in the Human Development Index are the developed countries. C. Only rich countries are developed because people have the money to buy everything needed for human beings, both material and non-material. And D, Iran is a rich country and therefore it is a developed country. The answer is countries which are among the highest in the Human Development Index are known as the developed countries. This is the biggest signal to tell you that the country is developed or no. If the three parameters of the HDI, that is income, education, and the basic facilities that are there for your development in the HDI, right? So with that only you can tell if a country is developed or no. What is the main criteria used by the World Bank in classifying different countries? What are the limitations of this criteria, and if any, please name the same. So let us answer this. The average income, that is per capita income, is the main criteria that is used by the World Bank to classify different countries as developed and underdeveloped countries. So the World Bank has set a limit such as $1,066 per annum and above in 2004 are called as those that are rich or developed countries. On the other hand, countries with per capita income of $825 or lesser are those that are called as low income countries. So what are the limitations of such a classification? So the limitations are, it does not tell us about how the average income is distributed among the people in the individual countries, right? Let me give you a brief example. Suppose in our country, there are two people who are making a lot of money, right? Now that we know that World Bank calculates the average, you see the two people, you take the average with the two people and the other 98 people are the poor people. Even if the two people are making such good money that it is covering up the money for all of the 98, we will still appear to be a developed country. Do you understand? So it does not matter, it does not tell who exactly is, poor or rich. So that is the kind of problem with such a criteria. Why is the issue of sustainability important for development? So first let us see what exactly sustainable development. It refers to the kind of development that you will have to undertake in the future without damaging the environment and the other resources and preserving these kind of resources for our future generations, right? In other words, You're balancing the need to use the resources and also to conserve these resources for the future generations. This is called sustainable development. If the natural resources that are around us are not sustained, then there will definitely be a reverse, there will be an economic degradation in the future. There will be stagnation of development as well. List a few examples of environmental degradation that you may have observed around you. So around us, you may be seeing on a daily basis the kinds of different environmental degradations that happen, and they are manifested in different ways. So let us take some kind of examples. First, deforestation, where trees are being cut. Then there is falling levels of groundwater because some areas need a lot of irrigation and water is being pumped out from the ground. Then there is soil erosion. There is definitely water pollution. For example, industries, after they are done with their manufacturing processes, they release that kind of wastewater back into the rivers. Burning of fossil fuels, that is, you're burning coal every day in order to produce some kind of electricity, and that is leading to a lot of pollution in the environment. That is not good. Then you have the hole in the ozone layer that you've heard about. It's also called as the ozone hole, which is discovered in Antarctica first. Then you have combustion from automobiles causing extreme air pollution, especially in the urban areas. In what respect is the criterion used by the UNDP for measuring development different from the one that is being used by World Bank? So we need to see what kind of differences the methodology processes used by UNDP and World Bank. So let us see the World Bank. So World Bank uses per capita income as the sole criterion for measuring development. What kind of measurement does UNDP take up? It's called as the HDI, Human Development Index. So this is based on a combination of three factors including health, education and income in order to measure development. Therefore, UNDP does not solely rely on the income aspect for measuring development, but World Bank solely just uses the income aspect to measure development.